becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So tonight we arrive together carrying with us a week of noise, a week of obligations, headlines, conversations, worries, and hopes. But yet, Shabbat invites us into something different. And in Parashat Yitro, the Israelites stand at Sinai and discover that revelation begins not with speaking, but with listening. Before the commandments, before the covenant, there is stillness, there is presence. So before we go any further tonight, let us arrive in this space together. So let's all take a deep breath in, hold it gently, and release, letting go of anything that is distracting us from this moment. Let's take another deep breath in, hold, and breathing out whatever we do not need to carry with us right now, allowing ourselves to arrive fully in this space and in this moment. May this Shabbat be our Sinai moment, a space where we listen deeply, we rest fully, and open ourselves to whatever wisdom and renewal is waiting for us. Shabbat Shalom. How good it is that we're all here together this evening. Let's join together with the words of Hine Matov, which can be found on page 128 or page 10.
Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, hine matov. La 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 la. Hine matov, hine matov. La 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 la. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
As we invite Shabbat into our space, it's my pleasure to invite up Rosemary Mild, who will be helping us to light our Shabbat candles this evening. And we'll wave our hands, inviting that Shabbat energy, that peace of Shabbat into our space. And we'll join together in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you so much. Let's continue inviting Shabbat into our space with Lecha Dodi. And Lecha Dodi invites us to greet Shabbat not as something abstract, but a very real presence, a beloved, a queen, a companion. And our mystics imagine Shabbat something we actively welcome. It's not something that just arrives. And our parashah this week, Yitro, reminds us that holiness often enters through relationship. Moses learns from his father-in-law how to lead differently, and revelation happens in community. Sacred wisdom rarely comes in isolation, so as we sing Lecha Dodi, perhaps we might ask, where am I being invited into relationship tonight? With rest, with community, with my own soul even? Let us use this Shabbat, this opportunity, as an act of revelation. We'll join together Lecha Dodi on page 138 or page 20. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on our 9th verse, I will invite us all to please rise as we welcome Shabbat into our space.
Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmi'anu-El Hamir echad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'Hashem u'litferet ve'yitchila lela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nechma ki hi mekor baracha merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila lela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5,
Hitoreri Ki va'orech u'mi'ori uri shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla lela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela.
Let's all rise. Let's please face the door as we invite Shabbat into our sanctuary.
Bohi v'shalom ateret bala Gam besimcha uvetzala מתוך אמונם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, ללה, ללה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה. פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה. פני פני שבת, פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
Don't sit down just yet. Let's turn and wave to those joining us on our live stream, wishing them a Shabbat Shalom. Turn to your neighbor, someone across the aisle. I know we have a bunch of visitors here tonight. Say Shabbat Shalom to them and show everyone some Temple-y love.
Yep.
Let's start to make our way back to our seats, but don't sit down just yet. We're moving into the Baruch. So let's make our way back to our spots. Let's not sit down just yet. We're going into the Baruch on page 146 or page 28.
La 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 Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? La 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 Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. La 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 la
You may be seated. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. In a moment, we'll join together in our central declaration of Judaism. And the central word in the Shema is not believe, it's listen. At Sinai, our people said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. Listening becomes our doorway to covenant, to connection, and to transformation. Listening in our world is not always easy. There's so much distraction, so much urgency, so many competing voices. So our Shema asks gently, can I listen beneath the noise? Can I listen for what truly matters? can I listen for that divine spark within myself and with others? So this Shabbat, let's let listening itself become a sacred practice for us. For those who are visiting our community, we have a custom here of chanting the first line of Shema 4 times, and then on our 5th go-around, we will declare the words of Shema in a loud voice together. The words of Shema can be found here on your screen and on page 152 or page 34. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Those of you who are standing may be seated. We'll turn the page and join together in our love song to the divine with the words of the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anohi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam beshivtecha v'veitecha uvlechtecha vaderek uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Mi Chamocha celebrates liberation at the sea. This was a moment where fear gave way to freedom and when uncertainty opened up into possibility. But Sinai follows the sea. Freedom alone is not the end of the story, because after liberation comes responsibility. After escape comes covenant. Mi Chamocha reminds us that freedom is not only release from what binds us, but it is the opportunity to choose what we become next. So as we sing, we might ask, what freedom am I being called into right now? And what sacred responsibility flows from that very freedom? The words of Mi Chamocha can be found on page 158 or page 40, sorry.
Yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי די די יאי די 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 יאי די 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 יאי די די יאי די 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 יאי די 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 יאי די 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 די.
We'll continue singing with the words of Veshamru, and Veshamru reminds us that Shabbat is both gift and a practice. In the text, we speak of keeping Shabbat, but it also suggests that Shabbat keeps us. It preserves our humanity in a world that pushes us towards constant productivity, endless urgency. And in the context of Yitro and Sinai, Shabbat becomes a weekly echo of revelation, a reminder that holiness is not only dramatic thunder and lightning, but sometimes it's just rest. Sometimes it's just presence. Sometimes it's simply stopping. So tonight we might ask, what might it mean to let Shabbat hold me and to allow covenant to show up not in striving, but in just being? We'll join together in the words of Veshamru on page 162 or page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
As we rise for the Amidah, tradition invites us to imagine ourselves standing at Sinai once more. Prayer becomes our encounter. So as we begin, let's ground ourselves in this moment. Notice your feet on the floor. Feel that steadiness beneath you. Maybe allow your shoulders to soften and unclench your jaw. Let's all take a deep breath in and release it gently. If you feel comfortable, perhaps imagine a beautiful mountain in front of you, this Sinai we stand before, where wisdom, compassion, and clarity can emerge. Our prayer, Amidah, does not require perfect words. It only asks of us presence. And standing here, we remember that we are supported, we are connected, and we are capable of receiving and offering blessing. Let's join together with the words of Adonai Svatai Tiftach on page 164 or page 46. Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufia Gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. I'll invite you to use this time to daven silently, using the words of our tradition here in the Siddur or the words that are in your heart. When you are finished with your prayer, you may be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך Adonai Tzuri vegoali Adonai Tzuri vegoali רצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך Adonai Tzuri vegoali Adonai
It is time for our Seder Kriyat HaTorah. It is my pleasure to invite up Chris Ledoux, who will be helping us with our Hakafah this evening. I will invite us all to please rise physically or spiritually as we take our Torah out of its ark. We'll be on page 364 at the top with the words Ki Mitzion. Right there. Yes. A little bit around the other side. There you go. There you go. We'll be at the top of page 364. We'll fix the arc. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Udavar Adonai miYerushalayim. Page 366. Baruch Shenatan Torah HaTorah. Baruch Shenatan Torah HaTorah. Le'amo Yisrael Bikdushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shema. We bow here. Gadlu Adonai iti Unromemo Shemo Yaktav.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Hishtakavu Lehar Kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Hishtakavu Lehar Kodesho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishachavu Lehar Kodesho. Ki
Kadosh Adonai.
You get it.
Hello, you keep singing. Our Torah is at rest. You can be seated. It is my pleasure to invite up Mr. Tobik and Mr. Stephen, who will be helping us with our Aliyah this evening. All right, there's that. We are. Oh, yes. We're going to be right here.
Baruch Adonai Hambarah. Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Vayehi mimecharat Yoshev Moshe lishvat et ha'am, v'ya'amod ha'am al Moshe min haboker ad ha'erev. Vayar choten Moshe al kol asher hu oseh la'am, vayomer, ma hadavar hazeh asher ata oseh la'am. Madua ata Yoshev levadecha v'kol ha'am netziv elecha min haboker ad ha'erev. The next day, Moses sat as a judge among the people, and the people stood around Moses from morning until evening. But when Moses, his father-in-law, saw how much he had done for the people, he said, "What is this thing you are doing for the people? You act alone while all of these people stand around you from morning until evening." Vayomer Moshe lechotno, ki yavo elai ha'am lidrosh Elohim. Ki yehi lahem davar, bo elai ve'ishvati ben ish uvein re'ehu, ve'hodati et hukei Elohim ve'et toratav. Vayomer choten Moshe elav, lo tov hadavar asher ata oseh, niv'ul tiv'ul, gam ata ve'gam ha'am hazeh, asher imha chaved mimecha hadavar, lo tuchol osehu levadecha. When they have a dispute, it comes before me, and I decide between one party and the other. I make known the laws and teachings of God. But Moses, his father, said to him, "The thing you are doing is not good, for you will surely wear yourself out, and these people as well, for the task is too heavy, and you cannot do it alone."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'hayeh atah lata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So tonight we're in Parshat Yitro, and of course I have to begin by saying I love Yitro. He's one of my favorite characters in the Torah, and I know that might sound surprising because he's not one of our major characters. He's not Moses or Aaron or Miriam. He's not even an Israelite. He's an outsider from Midian, a father-in-law. And yet, he shows up at one of the most pivotal moments in the entire Exodus story, offering us perhaps one of the most essential teachings about leadership, about community, and spiritual sustainability that our Torah has to teach. In fact, I love Yitro so much that I mentioned him in my very first letter to you all when I arrived here at Temple Emanu-El. Because I think Yitro represents something that we desperately need in this moment. He represents the kind of wisdom that saves communities, the kind of wisdom that prevents burnout, the kind of wisdom that reminds us no one is meant to carry everything alone. He was, in my opinion, the first self-care influencer. And Parashat Yitro takes place at a fascinating moment in the Torah narrative. The Israelites have escaped Egypt, they've crossed the sea, and they've begun their journey through the wilderness. They are free, but they are not yet settled. They are liberated, but they're still learning how to live. And Moses is at the center of it all. He's leading, he's guiding, he's mediating disputes, he's answering questions. He's trying to hold together a traumatized people who have just come out of slavery and are now figuring out how to become a nation. And the Torah tells us something painfully human. Moses is doing everything, from morning until night. The people line up, one by one, waiting for Moses to solve all of their problems. And Moses, with all of the devotion in the world, tries to do it because Moses cares. Moses feels responsible because Moses believes this is what leadership is: to be available, to be needed, to be indispensable, to carry it all. And perhaps some of us recognize that feeling. Yitro arrives and he watches. He sees Moses sitting alone and with the people who are standing around him from morning until evening. And he says to Moses, "What is this thing that you are doing to the people?" And Moses answers, "They come to me, and I make known to them the laws of God, and I adjudicate and judge between them." But then Yitro says words that are both loving and quite blunt. What you are doing is not good. Not you're failing, not you have it all wrong, not you're not holy enough to lead these people, just this is not good. And then comes the warning. You will surely wear yourself out. You will surely wither, both you and these people. Ki chaved mimcha hadavar, because this is too heavy for you, and you cannot do it alone. I want to pause here, because our Torah is doing something remarkable. Our Torah is acknowledging that even someone as great as Moses can burn out. Even Moses can collapse under the weight of responsibility, and even Moses can be crushed by endless needs of the community. And Yitro gives language to something so many of us have experienced: the slow withering. That exhaustion that comes not from a lack of love, but from love too much without support. That fatigue when responsibility becomes isolation. That burnout that comes when leadership becomes loneliness. Yitro looks at Moses and says, if you keep doing everything yourself, you will wither like the leaf. I think this is one of the most important Torah teachings for our time, because we are living in an age of burnout. We're living at a time when so many people feel stretched thin, an age where our world feels so heavy, where community needs are indeed real, and the demand never stops, where the inbox is endless, where the suffering we see is constant, and so many of us are carrying way too much. Sometimes we confuse carrying everything with being strong. We confuse exhaustion with righteousness. We confuse being indispensable with being faithful. But our Torah says that is not holiness. That is not sustainable. And that is not the way. Yitro teaches Moses that leadership is not about doing everything. Leadership is about building systems of shared responsibility. Leadership is about empowering others. It is about helping others step into their own strength. So he tells Moses, you need to teach the people, and then you need to appoint others, capable people, trusted people, people of integrity, leaders of tens, leaders of hundreds, so that the burden is shared, so that the community becomes collaborative, and so that no one person becomes the bottleneck for everything, so that no one person withers. And what is so powerful is that Moses listens. Moses, the greatest prophet in all of Israel, listens to the words of his father-in-law. He listens to an outsider. He listens to someone who says, you cannot do this alone. And that humility, that willingness, is itself a form of leadership. And I want to offer a teaching here that feels especially important for us as a community, because Yitro's wisdom is not only for rabbis, it's not only for for presidents and members of the board, it's not only for our staff. Yitro's wisdom is for everyone who loves community, because communities do not thrive when few people carry everything. Communities thrive when leadership is shared and when many people step forward, when everyone understands this belongs to all of us. Some of the greatest dangers in congregational life is the belief that leadership belongs to someone else. That is something Jewish professionals will do. That is something the rabbis will manage. That's something the staff can handle. That the same 3 volunteers will always step up. That the work of the community belongs to a small circle. But our Torah says no, this work is too heavy. And if we place it on one set of shoulders, we will wither. And I want to name something else here, gently. Yitro's teaching is not only about avoiding burnout, it's also about dignity. Because when Moses does everything, the people remain dependent. They remain passive. They remain consumers of leadership rather than partners in it. But when leadership is shared, something holy happens. People discover their own capacity, their own voice, their own gifts, their own role in this sacred project. So Yitro teaches Moses, your job is not to do everything. Your job is to help others rise. And isn't that the Torah's vision of covenant? That we all stand together at Sinai, not one person receiving Torah for everyone else, but an entire nation of people saying, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will listen together. So I ask all of you this Shabbat, where are you being called to share leadership? Where are you being called to step forward? Where are you being called to share your gifts? And where are you being called, like Moses, to let go, to trust others, to delegate, to ask for help, to stop believing that doing everything yourself is the only way to be faithful? Because no one is meant to wither like the leaf. Temple Emanu-El, we are building something beautiful together. And the only way we will sustain it, the only way we will thrive, the only way we will continue to be a community of strength and aloha is if leadership is shared, is if responsibility is shared, is if care is shared. Everyone knows you belong here and you matter here. You have something essential to offer. So may this week's parasha bless us with Yitro's wisdom. Certainly, let it protect us from burnout, but let it also teach us holy collaboration. May it remind us that the burden is too heavy for one alone. And may we, inspired by that, build a community where no one withers, where leadership is multiplied, where the work of Torah is carried together, and where each of us helps the other step into our own strength. Shabbat Shalom. At this point in our service, we call to mind all of those who are in need of healing. There are a number of people in our community for whom we are praying for. Barbara Bergman, Susan Brovler, Leslie Brown, Carolyn Borrell, Don Cable, Christina DeSuvic, Maggie Engebretson, Barbara Esmond, Bill Fisherman, Sue Gupta, Nancy Halevi, Jean Hinken-Jones, Joel Esmond, Linda Rose Herman, Marcus Hyman, Judith Hyman, Mark Justin, Marcia Katz, Aidan Kozlovich, Lee Kurth, Mel Lang, Herbert Latner, Stuart Libby, Nancy Lipset, Rebecca Magana, Gordon Matsuoka, Claudia Mendoza, Arjuan Meredith, Mitzi Mild, Harvey Minsky, Nina Morgan, Mortz Nemiroff, Stuart Novick, Paula Perry, Martha Randolph, Jennifer Reed, Bonnie Richmond, Wendy Robbins, Patricia Sarles, Stan Satz, Arlene Siegel, Jeffrey Snyder, Noah Tobenkin, Mike Trask, Keith Turo, Butch Ugrin, Gerald Umeda, Harriet Weissman, Cheryl Wolf, Robert Wolf, Ruth Yathabetz, and Kathy Zane. If there is someone or some ones for whom you are praying for this evening, I invite you to please share their names with us now. And I'll add to that list my aunt, Sandy Sherrill. Let's join together in the words of Misha Berach, which can be found on page 371 or page 253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless the source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe berach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Sending a refuah shlema to all of those names mentioned here, all of those names we hold in our hearts. Amen. It's my pleasure to invite back up to the bima Chris Ledoux to help me dress our Torah as we return our Torah to the Ark. I will invite us all to please rise physically or spiritually as our Torah is returned to the Ark. We'll be joining together at the bottom of page 370 with the words Vezot HaTorah as our Torah is lifted. And then we will move 2 pages over to Etz Chaim Hi as we return our Torah. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael. Grab the black belt. Torah, 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 Torah. Pull it tight, yeah.
Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Etz Chaim Hi Lemhachazikim Ba V'tomechakeha Me'ushar Darchecha Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
You may be seated unless you are Jackie Lau, because you have some announcements for us. Oh, probably need to use that mic. She'll use that mic.
Usually I'm the tall one. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you for being here and being online. So, when Josh Wish approached me to do the announcements, I had no idea there were so many. So, buckle your seatbelt. All right, so tomorrow is Torah study. You can join Rabbi CJ either live in person or, I'll just hold it. Broke the mic. Okay, so please do register in advance for that. You can bake Hamantaschen with me, Jackie Lau. It says that on here. So tomorrow evening from 4 to 6 here in the social hall, we will be rocking and rolling a lot of dough and making Hamantaschen for Purim, which is coming right up on March 1st. Also, Rabbi CJ, thank you for the segue. All of you have a leadership opportunity. The membership committee is calling for more participants. They're working on defining membership, what it means to be a member, what kind of benefits members have, dues structure, things like that. If you'd like to have a voice or if you'd like to kind of join the leadership pipeline, we're looking for you to share in the leadership. If you need more information, you can contact Alicia Fine, and I guess you can get that information from the office, how to get a hold of her. Caring Committee Interest Session. So this is on Zoom, an interest session for the Caring Committee. It's open to temple members only, and will be held on Wednesday, February 25th at 6 p.m. Faith Action Leadership Training. So this is a community-wide, beyond just our temple. Clergy and congregational leaders are invited to a statewide training hosted by Faith Action Hawaii. This will take place on February 13th and 14th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it sounds like they'll be covering quite a bit. The training focuses on community organizing, equity, and spiritual grounding. More information and registration details are available in temple communications, so those temple tidbits and those sorts of things. Tot Shabbat will happen on Friday, February 13th at 6 p.m. Doors will open at 5:30. Okay. Thank you to the Schwarzwalder Ohana for sponsoring this month's Tot Shabbat in honor of welcoming baby Maya. And that will be in person. There will not be a Zoom service for that. Regular Friday night services will be Simcha Shabbat, also on Friday, February 13th at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. It will be in person and on YouTube. So bring your joys to share if anybody has celebrated an accomplishment or has a Simcha to share. The office will be closed on Monday, February 16th in observance of President's Day. Grandparent Hui. The Grandparent Hui welcomes Debs Weinberg, Executive Director of the Jewish Grandparent Network, on Tuesday, February 17th at 1 p.m. in person. Please reply to the temple email if you plan to attend. We're getting there, guys. All right, Purim Carnival, March 1st, 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This year's Purim Carnival is not just for kids, or even just for kids at heart. We're expanding in a big way with a craft fair. So there will be booths cookie and costume contests, jewelry making, entertainment, food trucks, and more. To attend, $50 per family of 5 or fewer, $18 per individual. Children who are under 2 are free. We're looking for help, including food and craft vendors, yes, especially Hamantaschen sellers. So we'll be trying to make some extra Hamantaschen, and they will be available for sale for people who are not able to bake their own or find them somewhere on the internet. There will be a silent auction. Donations and volunteers are welcome for that. Anyone with a hidden talent to help run activity stations, balloon twisters are welcome. If you're interested, please fill out the interest form and our team will follow up directly. I'm pretty sure that's online in temple announcements. For everyone here in person tonight, the form is on in the back of the sanctuary, so on the table back there. Tonight's oneg. Please join us for tonight's oneg after services. After the oneg, please help us out with 2 things. 1, we do close the temple gates at 9 p.m. when security leaves. So please help us wrap up at 8:45 p.m. And 2, please help look around your chairs and tables and throw away any items in the trash before you go. It's a big help to our team here. So another leadership opportunity. Thank you all very much for your attention, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to invite us all to please rise, physically or spiritually, as we begin to wind down our service with the words of Aleinu. Aleinu can be found on page 586 or page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol la'ateit gedula le'yotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. At this time, we call to mind all of those who have passed recently and in seasons past. Our community is remembering a number of yahrzeits at this time. This week, we remember the yahrzeit of Annie L. Jacobs, Aziz Ellison, Ben Fischlowitz, Dan Sherman, Eric Brahm, Frank W. Nether, Frida Rubin, Harry Jaffe, Harry Michaels, Herbert Aaron Katz, Irene Kaufman, Jesse Nana Caraco, Jesse Alexander, John Killebrew, Joyce Tawinken, Lillian Weisner-Fisher, Lily Goldberg, Louis Nimroth, Max Mavaz, Milton Lang, Morris Paul Gus, Netanel Ben David Barzilai, Pauline G. Weiss, Polly Khalifi, Rose Welled, Sylvia Pager, Theodore Slates, and William Blackfeld. If you are remembering a yahrzeit at this time in a period of mourning, or if I happen to mispronounce the name of your loved one, I will invite you to please share their names with us now. If it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, I will invite you to do so. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 598 or page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'amlik machutei, v'chayichon uvyom echon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevarach le'olam almei almayam. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rava min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichrona levracha, may their memories be for a blessing. I will invite us all to begin making our ways to the center of the aisle. If folks are comfortable, if your neighbor's comfortable, maybe we can put our arms around one another. We're going to send everyone out with some shalom, with the words of Oseh Shalom. I also want to give a big thank you to Brandon and Sam this evening for helping us out with music. Thank you so much. And we'll join together in the words of Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Eloheinu melech haolam, Orei peri hagafen, Baruch atah Adonai.
Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav ve'ratzavanu ve'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron le'maaseh ve'reishit ki hu yom tehila le'mikra'e kodesh zeher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat lechaim. And I'll hand things over to our resident challah queen, our challah maven.
So this Torah portion was sort of difficult to put into any picture, but I decided that I would do Mount Sinai because supposedly everyone could hear, although I did say see, so it's sort of interesting, but everybody individually would hear what went on but the divine would come down and speak to him. So what I did is I made Mount Sinai with a bunch of letters on it. And I should have put them in a different, because it said, like in some interpretations, it goes 70 different countries or, languages. I said, but it's just the Israelites there. So anyway, so it's Hebrew. So anyway.
Beautiful. All right, let's join together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon. B'tei avon, everyone. Please join us in the back for Oneg. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you again to our musicians this evening. Everyone have a good Shabbat.
Rabbi, usually I see you drink this. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to drink this.
No, go ahead.